Hi folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. I am kitted out today in work gear and big rubber boots, and that means one thing. We're heading off-road to find the mud. Today we're gonna compare that, the 2022 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, to that, the F-150 Tremor. And you know what's exciting? For this video, I'm gonna jump behind the lens, and Dad is gonna do the driving. I can't wait, let's get out there. So like I usually mention, we're always working to upgrade our off-road obstacles, but there's another upgrade we just made. Bam! We got some nice new signs made for the property to mark all of our roads and off-road courses. Now this is called Tracy's Meadow. Tracy's my mom, so we named it after her. There's our offset ruts over there, and there's our ditch crossing. And as we go, you'll see all the new signs. All right, folks, we're wasting no time today. Let's jump into the off-roading. For this video, I thought we'd switch it up. Let's let Dad drive. I'm gonna run behind the camera, and we'll see how these trucks both handle.
Okay, guys, I'm in the Tremor. We're gonna try this uneven ditch crossing. We picked a new spot here where the banks are still steep. They haven't been beat up yet. 4 high and in mud and ruts mode, and we're gonna start just trying to crawl and see what it'll do. Now comes the question, will it climb? And there it goes. Very nice. No locker. That was actually very nice. Okay, I'm taking the TRD Pro now, and we're gonna do exactly the same thing as we did with the Tremor. Gonna cross the ditch in exactly the same place. We are in 4 high. No lockers. Let's go. Okay, that's the big one. Now let's see if she'll climb. Yes, indeed. Certainly one of the factors with the TRD Pro, these tires are really aggressive.
Okay, next up, the offset ruts. And we actually just made these ruts even deeper, so we'll see if they can slow down the F-150, and we'll see what the articulation is like.
Mud and ruts mode, no lockers. Now, at some point, we should have 2 wheels in the air. Right about there. However, it's still pulled through. Again, no locker. That's actually quite impressive. And now we're heading into the off-camber. Again, we're going to do the same thing, 4 high. Going to crawl through until we lose traction, and then see whether or not we need the locker, or will the truck pull itself out. Okay, here we are. We're at the point now. It's lost traction. However, I can feel it's transferring power as I give it more gas. And there it goes. So we got out, no locker. So far, these two are pretty much dead even.
Now let's look underneath the trucks using our handy dandy truck ramp And we'll start with this Tundra TRD Pro. So first of all, we come to this front skid plate. And internet, if you've been watching my videos lately, I have misidentified a couple skid plates as steel when they were actually aluminum. I don't want that to happen anymore. So I've got my trusty magnet here. And if it sticks, it's steel. If it doesn't stick, it's aluminum. And it absolutely does not stick here on this TRD Pro. I'll show you over here on a control arm. It does stick. So this skid plate right here, that is aluminum. Now the other thing you're gonna see up front here is this big heavy duty sway bar. That's unique to the Pro. And then up in there is your big massive Fox shocks. Now as we roll back, you get a little baby skid plate right there for the transfer case. Oh, you know what's funny? That one's steel. This is exactly why we're checking, folks. The front is aluminum, but this little guy is steel. That's pretty cool. Now, as we get further back, you're gonna see the fuel tank here does have a skid plate. This one is plastic. So that's a plastic skid plate all the way to the back. And then at the back corners, you're gonna see those huge Fox shocks with remote reservoirs. Also a really nice touch on this truck. And there is, at the back, also a full-size spare tire. One other note about the front end of this Tundra, you may have noticed there are no exposed tow hooks. It seems like an oversight. Now, on other Tundra models, there's actually a plastic chin spoiler right here that lowers down. The TRD Pro doesn't get that, so that gets in the way. So you can kind of see how a tow hook in this application just wasn't gonna work. That being said though, I don't really understand why there couldn't have been a tow hook right here where this bolt is maybe, even sticking down there. It would have been better than what we have, which is basically nothing. If I had to tow this truck out in the front, I'd probably be hooking into those holes right there, and that's never a good thing. So while I kind of understand why there isn't a tow hook after I looked at it, still Toyota, come on. You need front tow hooks on a truck that might get stuck. And now let's look at the Ford, and the most obvious thing up front, you do get two nice exposed tow hooks, really easy to get to. I also like that basically where the bumper ends, the skid plate begins. There's no big gap here whatsoever, and then that's a nice big front skid plate. Now we can do the magnet check. So that guy right there is aluminum, but here's something interesting. Look, the next skid plate back, that one is steel. So Ford actually uses a mixed materials approach. Now, one of my guesses as to why is actually right here. Somebody else borrowed this truck and they put some big gashes into this skid plate. Well, if this is aluminum, it's not gonna rust. And this is actually the skid plate you're gonna see from the front. So maybe these brands are using it to make sure that they stay pretty and not rust out. That's just a theory, but I think it makes a lot of sense. Now we'll continue rolling back here. You get a little, kind of more of a sound deadening skid plate right there in the center. Then here you get a steel skid plate over your transfer case. Back here for the fuel tank, that's actually a plastic skid plate rather than any metal at all. And then at the back end of this truck, you are getting a full-size spare tire. And those are unique shocks, although they don't really look like much here on the Tremor.
All right, we're going to do our little rock crawl. I'm back in the Tremor. Now, I've got it in 4 low, and honestly, the only reason for that is it's just gonna be easier to modulate. Hopefully, you know, not as jerky as you get with 4 high. Hardly this is about traction, but honestly, it's mostly about clearance. So far, oh, there it is. Bang, crunch. Otherwise, nothing to it. Okay, now back in the TRD Pro. Again, 4 low. Kind of neat that the cameras come on automatically as you put it into 4 low. They just all of a sudden appeared. Same thing, I'm just going to let it crawl up and over. I am going to cheat a little to the passenger side and see if I can avoid whatever the heck that was that I dragged. On the Ford, I mean, you know, it's always nice to know that you've got that armoring, but nobody likes to hear that sound. It would appear that I went the wrong way. Alright, I backed up and now I'm gonna go in the other direction. Okay, we're up and we're over.
Man, that was all exhaust. That rear end exhaust on the Tundra really hangs down. You can see it here. Take a look. On the Tundra, it just dangles there. On the Ford, they really did a nice job tucking it up.
Okay, back in the Tremor. Heading up the Hydroline. It's getting to be that time of year where there's a lot less water up here, but what there is now is the mud is still here. And it's really just sucks you right in. Oh well, we're in 4 high, no locker. I figure I save that for when I'm in trouble. And away we go. Oh, and in we go. Oh, man. We are dragging a bit, that is for sure. Now comes the climb. Climb, baby. So far, so good. Oh, yeah, well, we got some slippery tires. However, okay, you know what? The more I do this, the more I like it. Okay, working my way back down the hill again. Ouch. Oh, man, easy does it. That was totally on me. My foot slipped.
Alright guys, I'm just coming back to shoot the Hydroline. Take a look. I'm pretty sure those right there in the mud are wolf tracks. I mean, they look like dog tracks, but I don't think anyone's walking their dog back here. Oh, there's another one right there. Yeah, I think these are definitely wolf tracks. Wolfie came walking right up the middle of our Hydroline trail, right through the mud. Cool.
Okay, so we're in the TRD Pro now, on the Hydroline. In 4 high. As I mentioned, water's low, but the mud is super sticky. However, that's the one thing that this thing won't do that the Ford does do, is I can't use my locker in 4 high. Okay, that's, yeah, we're getting into the sloppy mud. Oh, I gotta turn off these parking sensors. Oh my goodness. And away we go. Back here on the left. Turn on the right. Alright, and we're swimming. We're swimming. Oops. Yeah. Oh, that's a beauty, that one right there. All right. Now we're going to work our way up the hill.
Dang, Tundra got stuck on the hill.
Having a little bit of trouble. Some of these rocks are slick, baby. Little different line, and that did it.
And if you guys hear me blowing from behind the camera, that's me blowing the mosquitoes off my shooting hand to try to keep nice and steady for you guys.
It all depends on the line you pick. You know, I moved over like 6 inches. It made all the difference. Anyway, here we are. And we're about to jump back in. I love the fact that it has clean parking sensor. You think? All right, baby. We're in. We're out. That was fun. Jeez, kill the thing, would you?
I'm hating these bugs today, man. There are just so many of them.
That's a second coming around here.
My hands were the only exposed piece of me today, and they're absolutely just itchy as heck.
The joys of Ontario.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it for the off-roading. We're coming off the trail now, and of course today was a little different. Normally I'm driving, Dad's shooting, so I had a different perspective outside the trucks. And I'll just tell you straight up, Dad, getting to the point, to me, it looked like the Tremor did better. From the camera angle, it just looked like the Ford walked through everything a little bit easier than the Toyota. What do you have to say to that from behind the wheel? Did it feel that way?
You know what? I agree with you. Big difference? No, small difference. But a couple of things that I can put my fingers on is through the off camber, the power moved quicker in the Ford to the wheel that needed the grip, so we didn't need the locker to get through there. And the other thing that I love, and I said it once already, is that in the Ford, I can lock up my rear end in 2 high, 4 high, or 4 low. Toyota restricts me just to 4 low.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
That alone, for me, is an issue.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And then overall clearance, you know, I felt like the Toyota was hitting more things. I heard the exhaust hitting in the back end, and yeah, so overall off-road, Tremor might be the one.
I like the tires better on the Toyota.
Fair enough.
The Ford tires gummed up quicker.
Yeah, that's true. These are big and wide. Well, folks, we have come to the end of this video. Now, this Tundra TRD Pro is designed for going fast in a place like the desert. And if I had to race the Baja 1000, I would probably take the Toyota. But that's not what we were doing today. We were focused on rocks, mud, and water. And for those conditions, it has to be the F-150 Tremor. The clearance was a little bit better. It just seemed to put the power down better. But now, of course, I want to hear from you. So go in the comments, let me know which 2 of these trucks you would pick. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we are testing next. See ya.